Rock.
On too many stories, the press has missed the story because we've taken into account the perspective of advocates and not the average American. Or we put too much weight in the analysis of academics or elites and not enough on you. And I know this because at certain points, I have been you. I have felt this way too. I felt like what I was seeing and hearing on the news didn't reflect what I was seeing and hearing in my own life, and that the most urgent questions simply weren't being asked. So here's my promise to you today and every time you see me in this chair. You come first, not advertisers, not politicians, not corporate interests. And yes, that does include the corporate owners of CBS. I report for you, which means I tell you what I know, when I know it, and how I know it. And when I get it wrong, I'll tell you that too.
Yeah, interesting promise.
Yeah, I commented on it on X, and I wanted to run it by you then because it sounds great on the surface, but I don't care for the whole thing of, well, I'm going to listen to what you say. It's like, I don't want you to listen to what I say.
Yeah, I want
just
you to
report the
news.
facts.
Dude, what is so difficult about this? I mean, I appreciate, like you said, I appreciate the guy's sentiment, but you know, it's who, what, where, when, and why in the first paragraph of an article. I don't care what I think about something. It's not my prerogative to care about any of this stuff. Living in Des Moines, Iowa, you're bringing me the news. Yeah, forget about people involved. Forget about advocates. Forget about PR people. Just go out and give me the goddamn news. What is so difficult?
I agree. I agree. And I don't, it doesn't matter how I feel.
Yeah,
either.
I know. Exactly.
And I think he was trying to express another message saying, I hear you, we've screwed up and we'll get better. At the end, that was a good sentiment. He said, I'll report what I find and da-da. It's like, well, why don't you just lead with that? And
why don't you just do the news? How about that for something? You know, what he should have said is, we're going to take the editorializing out of the news. That's it. No more editorializing in the news. No more opinions. Opinions are for some other show. You know, when you've got, what's his name at the end of 60 Minutes? You ever wonder how the situation became so crazy? I mean, that's the editorial at the end of 60 Minutes. You know, what this kid Shirley was doing in Minnesota reminded me, and I said this to people in my house, reminded me of old Mike Wallace got you 60 Minutes interviews where they bang on the door of the gas station who has destroyed your brakes to sell you new brakes. It was old school gumshoe in-person gotcha journalism. They can't handle the truth, to quote Aaron Sorkin's line from A Few Good Men. They are now attacking this kid because they can't attack the message, so they're going after the messenger. It should be the lead story on CBS News, Eric.
Sorry, totally agree. And another guy who did do that, who's still out there, is John Stossel.
Yeah,
he's not doing the door knocking and stuff. He just talks about it now. But yeah, I saw that. I think you sent an article to me on the kid, and they went after, what was it? They weren't really addressing his points. They were saying
they're trying to avoid addressing his points, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like he did a stunt. He paid people. Well, but that's it. He paid Latinos to go protest in front of the White House. So he didn't hide it. He literally put them on the bus.
It was part of the scam. It's part of the journalistic thing that he was trying to prove. Regardless of this, I mean, the interview by CNN of him on the site showing a child going into the building from way behind him and then trying to undermine him was so juvenile as to be breathtaking. The attempts by CNN to undermine, you know, who are you? How can you do this? You're not a real journalist. They kept referring to him every single time as a MAGA influencer. That's what they kept saying. Forget about what he found. It's the guy who's finding it that matters.
Well, I mean, ad hominems are all you have, right? I mean, that is a bit of a desperation.
Yeah.
You can't attack his message, so what do? Well, you attack him. It's like, oh, I don't care. What if he's a felon?
They also said to his face that this has been addressed 8 years ago, and there were indictments and convictions under the Biden administration, which is true. The point of the matter is the documents that he was rolling around with were from 2025 and 2024 directly from the Minnesota government website, with millions and millions of dollars being siphoned. And now the story has grown to absolutely atomic proportions, Eric, with the appointed head of the docks, a Somali, now being the owner of about 18 different companies, which is a political appointment. And then the money going back to officials in the Somali government. There's officials in the Minnesota government who have now gotten official positions as the head of the shipping and dock workers or something. I don't know what that position was, but that person has been named on 12 or 15 different businesses receiving money illegally.
Great.
Like I said to you, this is the easiest type of investigation to wrap up because it's there in black and white on paper. You know, they have to go over and pick this person up who owns 18 of these sham businesses, who also has a government position in Minnesota. This is not complex.
That's true. And as you pointed out about the documents and everything, they did a good job of telling us where did the documents come from, explaining what these documents mean, explaining this is the law. So they laid out a really nice foundation, and then
repeated it.
Oh yes. And then confronted people with the documents, which nobody wanted anything to do with. And of course, the people they talked to had nothing to do with anything because they're all sham operations.
These thugs who were coming into the building telling them to leave, who are they? Like, in other words, forget about who I am. Who are you? Like, who are you to come in and tell me I have to leave this building? Are you the owner of the building?
Yep.
I mean, unless you're the owner of the building, who are you, bro?
And the police even.
Yeah.
They had the police come in and they're like, well, it's trespassing. What are you going to do?
Again, they were amateurs doing this kid, but and he did an incredible job. But I would simply ask the person on camera, who are you to tell me to leave? And then when the police came, say, who are the people who called you? What is their position? I'd like you to give me the name of the person that made a police report and a call to you. If the cop says on camera, I can't give you that, I don't know who that is, it was anonymous, great. That's insane too. Film the cop saying that.
More information.
More information.
And just extract all the information you can in every direction. And he did extract a lot. The guy who was with him also cracked me up so badly when he said, where are the children? What do we do?
Yeah.
Do we have Amber Alert? We need an Amber Alert on the children.
That was a good line. That was a good line. Right.
That was
funny. Every single place was a fraud. Now it's spread to Ohio. It's spread to Seattle. It's spread around the country because this scam is the way they fund these socialist cities. It's part and parcel how they fund the operations of the cities themselves. These cities can't survive in a socialist bubble because they create nothing, Eric. I've said this on the show so many times. The only way they can survive is by scamming outside money.
What's interesting, though, is I saw a couple, or at least one daycare person who, apparently does this professionally, saying, at our daycare, we have like 6 inspections a year. They drive us crazy. They're always checking this and that. So they're saying it's impossible for this to happen without the collusion. And that, I think, is something that should be investigated. It's like, okay, so who's in charge of the inspections for the children stuff? I want to look at your records. When did you last go there? What are your visits? It's kind of like a restaurant. If a restaurant poisons a bunch of people, well, why does it have an A+ rating on the wall? How did they get that information? I think there could be something there as well. And then they'll either have to come up with paper or they'll have to flip and say, this person told me not to do it. Okay, who was that person? And you just keep rolling.
Well, that Somali kid who said they broke in through the wall and stole their documents. I mean, that was incredible. I mean, the police said that there's no such break-in, and he's wearing $2,500 specs.
Yeah.
I mean, these cats are living large. They're feeding from the trough. They're driving Mercedes. They are the new poverty pimps and have replaced the old African-American poverty pimps. The Reverend Al Sharptons have now been replaced by the Imam Mohammed Abu Dhabi in these Muslim strongholds, bro.
Please just say poverty pimps again. I love that term.
The poverty pimps like Al Sharpton have aged out. They've aged out. And that was created under LBJ, by the way. And LBJ knew it, and Nixon knew it. And they said, well, it's a price we have to pay to calm them down from burning the cities to the ground. And they knew damn well who was going to open those storefronts when they started to send money. And there's all kinds of on-the-record discussions about who was going to fill that vacuum to funnel the poverty money to. They knew it was going to be scammers in the Black community. And they said, well, that's just a price we have to pay for peace.
Unbelievable. I mean,
that's why the Democrats are not, shattered by this, because they've been doing this since 1965, and it's almost like bribery and blackmail for peace.
Yeah, and okay, I found the article that you were sharing where they were.
Oh yeah.
MAGA's favorite journalists.
Yeah, this is from Yahoo News.
It's Daily Beast actually.
Daily Beast, but I got it from Yahoo News.
Yeah. Aggregating it, but Daily Beast is a very hardcore leftist organization.
No, you're absolutely right. But CNN did it, and these other channels picked up on it, and they use the same phraseology.
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny, the whole phraseology thing. Somebody pointed it out because it gets so cloned where it's like everybody's saying the same thing, and they have like the newscasters and they show them saying all over the place the same crap. It's not necessarily that they get a memo from the DNC saying you will say this. People will write a press release and send it, and they're so lazy they don't bother converting it into their own words.
It's not even a press release. The producers of the show read the same daily briefings that we read in their Twitter feed. They read that Daily Beast, and then they pick up on it and roll with it. It's not as structured as you think, but it is simply because they're all reading the same feed every morning, whether it's Blue Sky or Yahoo News or whatever it is. 8,000 producers read that article just like I did. And then to make their job easier, because they're fat, lazy bastards, they simply use the phraseology and article almost word for word. Sometimes you could see articles on local news that come directly from national news now. In the past 6 or 7 years, they've taken over local news. And the first 5, 10, 15 minutes of local news is the national news feed from their affiliate.
Yeah, and by the way, that goes on both sides. You see the same thing on X with video clips. You'll see the same video clip like on 5 different accounts. I'm not going to name them right now, but we'll just say that they're right-oriented accounts, and it'd be like this clip, and then you look at the bottom, and it'll tell you which account it originated from, and they're like borrowing each other's clips and essentially reporting the same thing over and over and over. But I don't know. It is having an effect. They're scrambling like crazy. But before we go any further, I have some very important news, and involves a press release of our own.
Oh.
And we have a sponsor.
Oh, wow.
My favorite kind of press release.
You love it.
Have you ever searched your name online and found your personal details exposed on public sites? That's the work of data brokers who profit by selling your info to robocallers and spammers. Enter our sponsor today, Aura. Aura identifies and confronts these brokers submitting opt-out requests for you. By law, they must comply, but they often complicate the process. Aura simplifies this for you with services like parental controls, antivirus, VPN, password management, and identity theft insurance. Aura has got you covered. Now, I've been using Aura for years now. It originally found my info on multiple data brokers, and now it alerts me every time sites have compromised my information. Sites are being hacked all the time, and I feel good having this extra layer of protection. Aura also monitors my bank for large transactions. It still surprises me when I get alerts after transferring money between accounts and paying larger bills. But then I feel the relief that I am notified. It's an added layer of security that I can't do on my own. For peace of mind, try Aura for 2 weeks for free at aura.com/AUS and boost your online safety. I love reading the chat while that's going on. People are like, did Aura make your thumbnails? It's like, no, they did not make my thumbnails, but they did just report to me that my password was leaked on like 3 different sites.
Wow.
Yeah. And we even up every month, and I just got the alert today that money left my account. Oh, that's right, I sent it. So it is very useful tool, and I definitely appreciate it. So everybody check it out. It is a good product. They sponsored us a ways back, and I just kept using it because I was like, yeah, this is actually really good. So I do appreciate it. But anyway, so let me pew. This was bad. Okay. Let's see the main well, we got a couple big stories for the day. New York officially is
It's a socialist city. New York begins to recede from the United States.
Starting with the cops. Apparently in the Bronx, they found like a box full of police uniforms. So I don't know what's going on there.
Could be terrorism.
I don't even know. I have a feeling that and your friend Al will have to let us know. Bet you a lot of people who are up for retirement are going to say, you know what? Yeah, okay, it's the first. Goodbye.
How many could do it though? It's an economic problem. If you can, you can. If you can't, you can't.
No, that's true. I mean, I'd be running from that place as quickly as I could.
People have, kids and wives and homes. You can't just, run. And they have pensions they've put in. Let's say you're in for 13 years. You just chuck the 13 years, Eric. I mean,
that's why I said as soon as
you're
you
4
can.
years away from your pension. I mean, 6 years.
Yeah,
And you're chucking away all those years.
I understand that. I mean,
It's not just quitting a regular job.
I agree.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's sad.
Well, what's sad is the first day doing away with all the anti-Semitic checks and balances that Eric Adams had installed, committees and stuff like that, and getting rid of the commission, the anti-Semitism commission. You could see where the guy's priorities are when you're doing that an hour after you're sworn in.
Well, it was his second executive order.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd say
now,
that
regular Jews who are not tied to the city should definitely flee, and they have been fleeing.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is going to be a Judenfrei zone within a couple of years, because many have already fled to Florida, and the rest of them will also. Even going to New Jersey might be beneficial, just getting out of the city and moving over there, or, going south or going north.
Yeah.
But I think you got to get out of there. This has become like Berlin in 1933.
It is truly scary. I mean, it is. I feel bad for them. What I find interesting too is, I don't know if you saw, he had a particular gesture when he finished his speech, or at least during his speech, that they're going on about. Do you remember many months back when Elon Musk, or actually it was last year, when Elon Musk was so happy about the election and he said, thank you for my heart. You remember that gesture?
Yeah. These are just gestures. If people could do this all day.
Oh, no. But I find it ironic.
Yeah.
That somehow not a single person, reported on how that gesture's the same. I'm going to say that neither of these is a Nazi salute.
No. But the Nazi salute, based on current folklore, can only be assigned to a fascist. Having a communist like Mamdani do a mock salute will never be assigned to a fascist type Nazi salute, because he is a communist. So It doesn't make sense from their own standards. With Musk, they can extrapolate out that Musk is a fascist, Musk is a Nazi, and he makes a gesture with a vertical arm that becomes a Zig Heil. Even to the left, it doesn't make any sense if you do it with Mamdani, because he is a fierce Antifa fighter, Eric. So why would he be doing a Nazi salute? They would just giggle about that, and they would just say, hey, he's a communist. That's funny.
Yeah, either way, it is still, it's still valid. I understand that, and I wanted to play this. This is a guy from Romania who I think sums it up really well.
We will replace the frigidity of rugged individualism with the warmth of collectivism.
Warmth.
Famous words spoken by every communist in history. Hi, my name is Bogdan, and this is exactly how communism came to power in my country, Romania, via collectivism. First, they confiscated private land. Then they used terror to enforce collectivism. The regular Romanian citizens were arrested, beat up, humiliated publicly, left to rot in prison, and some even executed. The next step for collectivism was destroying the independent farmer class. These people were a threat to the regime because they were able to stay self-sufficient and did not rely on the state. Independence was and still is the biggest threat to communism. They made it in such a way that owning more than others was a crime. Once all that happened, the communists started confiscating the food from farmers, leaving families to die. They also confiscated the livestock raised by people. This resulted in famine, malnutrition, and the collapse of productivity. Romania literally went from being the #1 exporter of grain in Europe to chronic shortages of food. But that wasn't enough. The communists then banned free market. No free sale of crops, no private trades, no bargaining, classic socialist failure. But collectivism wasn't just economic, it was cultural as well. In Romania, they attacked the church and religious people. They replaced family authority with party authority, all with one goal in mind: replace faith and family with the state. 15 years later, the communists declared victory. 90% of all farmland in Romania was collectivized. Bottom line, Romanian collectivism was forced, violent, economically disastrous, morally corrupt, and designed to control, not help. Only for today in the United States of America to be in New York City. I swear to God, some Americans are the dumbest morons on the planet.
Yeah, he's right. He's absolutely right. But we haven't suffered enough. I mean, the bottom line is we haven't suffered from any war. We haven't suffered from any ideology. I mean, we just saw a taste of it under the repressive Biden regime. Well, Biden was an old man. It had nothing to do with it, Mark. I said, yeah, I know. It was the social collectivists behind him, the cabal that was issuing pardons at the end with the auto pen. Pretty smart operation they pulled down in South Carolina with the congressman who got everyone off of the ballot the next day, and he was declared the winner of the South Carolina primary. That was the move that coalesced behind Biden to put him into power. And he was just a figurehead at that point, like Ceausescu, and others around the world who were Soviet satellite leaders.
Yeah, I didn't realize until recently, I forgot who you quoted or talked about that, because I always wondered why the hell they all just dropped out the same day, not realizing, oh, that was the plan all along, was to
that was the plan.
Fake
that
people
was
in there, and then the second it came up, boom, pull them out.
Yeah, the entire primary was staged on every single level, and everyone dropping out the second he won South Carolina and declared the victory. We saw a similar attempt with Kamala Harris by having no primaries and declaring her the candidate and taking the money from the donations to back up her campaign. But the brilliance of running a candidate that would then be the puppet by the DNC and the Democratic Socialist of America. I mean, look, Bernie Sanders was the guy who swore in Mamdani, this Jewish guy from Brooklyn, who said we must defeat the Democrat and Republican parties. I mean, why doesn't anybody believe him?
Well, it's his own words. I mean, the first thing out of his mouth is, I ran as a Democratic Socialist. I will rule as a Democratic Socialist.
He's not lying. One thing about the Socialist is the Democratic and traditional Republican candidates will lie their ass off to get into power and then do whatever they want, steal money, have sex with people. The Democratic Socialists, they're not corrupt. And that's one thing we found here in LA, that they use corruption as bait to get the Democrats out of power and replace them with themselves. And they are ideologically insane, but they're not financially corrupt types like other Democratic standard politicians and Republican politicians. The corruption for them is ideological. but they're true believers, Eric. Then they would never be caught stealing money. That's way beneath them. That is way beneath their goals.
When you say they're not corrupt, and my interpretation is slightly different, they're not selfishly corrupt.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
they're not corrupt for themselves, but they absolutely for the party. So they will do corrupt activities.
Yeah. I'm just talking about financial. I'm just talking about financial corruption. The average. What's that?
They do whatever for the cult, if you will.
Right. Well, I'm just talking about financial corruption. They will not steal money. That is way beneath them ideologically, and they are very, very honest in that corruption department. And in fact, that's how a lot of them have come to power, where their predecessor was caught with their hand in the cookie jar, and they have turned them in. They have turned over recordings. They have caught and allowed the authorities to catch these corrupt Democrats so they could replace them as socialists.
True. And we got Nate the lawyer. He agrees New York City's in trouble.
Wait, come on. Now you're blaming me. Come on, Nate. You backed Mamdani from day one. You had dinner with him in the hospital. Then right before. Come on. No, I mean, wow. Yeah, it really is in trouble. You're right.
Yeah. Well, Nate was smart enough to leave the Bronx and go to Houston.
Well, Houston's got its own problems, but there's a couple of people in the Bronx who are not going to take this lying down. So we'll see how long Mamdani lasts and if he can implement these things without people going crazy.
True. And speaking of Houston having its own problems, one story, somebody sent it to me. I ran across it and I thought it was interesting. They have a problem with a ton of bodies showing up in the bayous in Houston.
Wow.
And people are claiming that, they're worried that, hey, there's a serial killer down there. And I didn't really think about it. I was like, oh, well,
it has happened again this week. Authorities.
Sorry, that's not really, great news. Bodies found in a bayou just sounds like the Green River Killer or something, doesn't it? And it's like, ooh, it's trouble. But apparently it's not completely unheard of. And you could confirm this. This is the mayor. I'll go a little back.
But authorities have said each case is different and unique, but each case, someone's loved one.
Unfortunately, the homeless, when they pass, often end up in the bayou.
This week, a body recovered Wednesday from Buffalo Bayou, and 2 bodies recovered Monday from Buffalo and Brays Bayou, according to investigators. The Houston Chronicle reporting the medical examiner's office recorded 35 deaths from the bayous in 2024, and so far this year, there's now around 34 deaths.
I know it seems like a lot, but just because there's a lot doesn't mean that one person or a couple people are going out and killing all of these people.
Both criminal justice professor Dr. Krista Gureg and retired HPD Captain Greg Freeman say it's important not to jump to conclusions and be vigilant.
There's a lot of traffic in and around that area downtown, and unfortunately things are recovered from there. And there's a lot of drownings. There's a lot of bodies that unfortunately over the years have ended up in the bayou. But this is not anything to be concerned about.
No, why would I be concerned? 34 dead people in a creek. Why would I even care?
Exactly.
I should.
I thought it was fascinating, but then I kind of could visualize this like, oh, well, Johnny hit the end of the road. Let's roll him out, boys.
Yeah, no, that's probably true. But his attempt to minimize it is a story by itself. I mean, it may not be a serial killer, but it's still a story.
I agree.
Eric, right? I mean,
I agree. That's why I got it.
34 dead bodies. Hey, there's nothing to see here, folks. Keep moving.
Yeah. I mean, I guess
they're only homeless people. They used to say about the serial killer victims, they were only prostitutes. That was a typical thing in the 70s.
Well, that was one way to not get caught. A lot of the let me see, the Robert Hansen, the Alaskan guy, Butcher Baker. He started out, he went after like normal people. He got caught really quickly, locked up at a bad time. He said, oh, can't do that. Okay.
No, you run out of normal people.
It's easier.
Yeah. It's easier.
It's definitely, and plus they volunteer. So
yeah,
it's horrible.
They get in the car. They get in the car willingly.
Absolutely. But another follow-up story. It's not exactly on the same path, but you just came back from Florida. You were talking about your friends, the iguanas, and apparently they're tumbling from trees right now.
Oh yeah, dude, they were everywhere. Yeah, look at these guys. I was afraid to go out in the backyard.
No, I mean they're falling because
Yeah,
the
no, they were
cold-blooded
jumping.
and the weather. They're not jumping. No, the weather is so cold that they're going and falling to the ground.
There were so many big ones there that I believe that some of them had come from Brazil. Let's see this one. What happened to this poor guy?
He's just frozen.
It's so sad.
It's like I guess when the temperature's down below 40 or in the low 40s.
I must be up north because it was like 78 every night when I was there. And they were having a party in the backyard, these iguanas.
Yeah, no. I don't know where in Florida it was, but
yeah.
Apparently I do know that it is fascinating at the cold because I grew up in Tucson and we have rattlesnakes, and like we had literally a rattlesnake laying on the sidewalk, and I was like, holy shit. And it couldn't move because the temperature was too low for it. So that was very helpful for disposal.
Yeah. There's good news in the snake department. California has named, as of January 1st, the garter snake as the new state official snake of the state of Florida. California, rather.
I didn't know that we did official snakes of state.
Either did I. There's every year, January 1st, the new laws come out, usually crazier than the year before. I gave you a couple of the highlight ones.
Yeah, I've got the article. I thought we'd be going through that.
Yeah, but you mentioned the snakes and lizards. We now have the garter snake as the official state snake of California.
And it's not, I would just say Newsom and save time. Wouldn't that be the state snake?
But when you think of snakes, I would think of the California king snake would be the #1 snake, which is a crazy, gigantic snake that freaked the shit out of me the first time I saw one. The garter snake, I guess they're trying to rehabilitate or save or create more garter snakes.
Wow. Okay.
Well, their motivation is to not save them, but to rehabilitate and get more of them.
Well, I mean, garter snakes are fine. They're great.
Yeah,
they get rid of, I'm happy with that. But
yeah.
now you made me look this up. So let me see. Here are the state reptiles.
Oh,
so
very
I guess
good.
It's a state reptile versus a snake. I don't know. Well, you got variety in California. So in Alabama, you have a red-bellied turtle. Okay. Makes sense.
All right.
Arizona ridge-nosed rattlesnake. No, thank you.
Weird.
But there we go. Arizona could be stupid too. California has a desert tortoise. Now, a desert tortoise should be everybody's favorite reptile.
Right.
Cool.
That one I knew about. Yeah.
Leatherback sea turtle. I'm cool with that. And then now the giant garter snake.
Yeah.
Okay.
The giant garter snake or just the garter snake? It's a big one?
It says giant garter snake.
Wow. I didn't know that.
It's a state snake. Oh, so here, state reptile, state marine reptile, state snake. You guys are sick. Yeah. All right. Colorado has a western painted turtle. Florida. Oh, Florida's trying to catch up here. They've got a state reptile with the American alligator.
Yes, I saw that when I was at the zoo the other day, where there were alligators, and it said on the sign that it's the state lizard or amphibian.
Well, and reptile, yeah,
reptile.
And then they also have the loggerhead sea turtle, which is a state saltwater reptile, and the gopher tortoise, the state tortoise.
Interesting. Well, Georgia went with that too.
Gopher tortoise, and that's just it. They're I guess the state gopher tortoise because they're not saying reptile or anything. Just all right. Illinois is a painted turtle. Kansas has the ornate box turtle. Louisiana, American alligator. Now that makes sense.
Yeah.
Maine has a wood turtle. So turtles are doing
well. Turtles because they're not going to kill you.
Yeah, and Maryland has a diamondback Charlton.
Yeah, look at this, all turtles.
Massachusetts has their own garter snake. Theirs is regular, not giant.
Right. There's a lot of garter snakes in the Northeast.
Well, yeah, I mean they're great for gardens. They have them here too. Michigan painted turtle. Minnesota Blandings turtle.
The three-toed box turtle. Look at that operation in Missouri.
Okay. You got the American alligator in Mississippi, which is cool. Well, pretty much next to Louisiana. Desert tortoise in Nevada. Bog turtle, not box, bog turtle in New Jersey. New Mexico's original with a whiptail lizard. New
And look
York?
at the category, least concern.
Yeah, that's they're not
being
endangered.
eliminated. It's
versus
absolutely
versus New
critically
Jersey.
endangered. Yeah.
I kind of think the critically endangered, if you make them the state animal, then maybe that'll help them.
Yeah, that's a lot of the motivation. Yeah.
But not New Mexico, not in New York. The common snapping turtle, least concern.
Let me tell you something. I caught one of those snapping turtles when I was a kid, and it started to eat up the line. We thought we had a fish, and then I thought it was a log, and then it ate up the line and ate up the end of the fishing pole. And we were like, 11 years old on the shore of a lake, and we had to kill it with rocks, giant boulders. Yeah,
Well,
it's a
they're prehistoric looking.
Yeah, dude,
mofos.
Eric, it was this big. I want to, and like we went and it just came up, na 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 na, and we were like and we had to get boulders and crush it.
Okay, well they are very aggressive, mean little sons of bitches.
Yeah. Now, what is that thing there? The North Carolina thing.
Eastern box turtle, kind of cool looking.
Weird.
Let me see. Ohio is the northern black racer. Those are interesting snakes. We had black racers in Tucson. I don't know if they're the same species. I imagine they are, but they were aggressive and they would bite you. They would strike you, but they, fortunately not poisonous. But very interesting species. Oklahoma has the common colored lizard. South Carolina, a loggerhead sea turtle.
There's the Gila monster. Look at that thing in Utah. Wow.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Wow.
Gila monsters are kind of cool. Don't go. I love the horny toads or horned lizard. For those who are, I used to, hold on. When I was a kid, I would, you could like play with them and stuff. But piece of advice is if you are playing with a horned lizard, their defense is they spray blood out the back of their head.
That's great. That's nice. That's what I need.
It's a very weird.
That's what I need. Yeah. Surprise attack. Surprise
I didn't know if you were aware of it, but that's what they do.
I am now.
Anyway, let me see. Texas, sea turtle. And you got the Gila monster, Vermont painted turtle. Then we have another garter snake here. Virginia has
another horn lizard too. Wyoming on the bottom.
And the timber rattler in West Virginia.
That's scary. Yeah, the timber rattler.
Seen timber rattlers?
No, I've got rattlers right here. I don't need to go there. Arizona. We have plenty of them here.
Well, let me just say, I grew up with rattlesnakes, and I was like, okay, they're diamondbacks, they're threatening all that. Timber rattlers are like as fat around as your bicep.
Oh my
God,
they're freaking me out.
Huge ass snakes.
You're freaking me out.
Oh, they're big, dude.
Dude, I was going to the airport in Ontario one time out in here, and my friend's car overheated, and we were out on the 10, and we were waiting for his car to. It was like 110, and his car overheated, so we're waiting for it to cool down. So I climbed over the fence, and there was some high grass, and I was standing in the shade underneath this tree, and I stepped on this thing that looked like a fire hose, and its head came up to my eye level. And it was a California king snake. It must have been 35 feet long or 30 feet long, coiled. And its head came right up here like this. And I jumped from like 6 feet away to the fence in midair and climbed over the fence out of breath. And he's going, my friend's going, Nick, he's going, what's the matter? I go, and it was like stepping on a prehistoric monster. And we went back and looked it up, and it was the California king snake in the shade. And I had stepped on him, and he rose up to say hello, face level, like right here, Eric. And there was still 20 feet of him coiled below. Never encountered anything like that in my life. I leapt in midair to the fence, to the wrought iron fence.
And your pants remained dry?
They were soaking wet. They were absolutely soaking wet.
Oh, my God. I believe it. So, all right. So interesting deal with the snakes, and we'll get more into laws. I want to definitely jump to a main headline, obviously, of the day. Is
what's going on over there?
I'm very concerned. Believe me, I'm all for the regime falling. That's fantastic. I am not happy with Trump's post. I'm a bit concerned about that one. And
maybe the post is not to you, it's to them.
I know the post is to them.
Yeah.
But it does involve fellow Americans who could be potentially boots on the ground. And
again, with this potentially boots on the ground, you guys must have had a rough time during that last war.
Okay, well, let's be honest here.
He has not put any boots on the ground.
Okay, hold on. He said, "We will come to your rescue." So I imagine that he's just going to use the force and say, "Woo." That right there is a direct threat of potentially doing it. So I'm taking Donald Trump and Donald Trump's words in his own truth.
But he hasn't done anything. He hasn't done anything.
Well, and I hope he doesn't.
Okay.
Because I do not want troops to be there in a quagmire. Sorry.
Okay. Again, every time these people pull a chicken switch when he makes a statement, it's crazy. It's crazy. He hasn't done anything. He's put out 8 wars.
Okay.
It would seem the opposite might be more normal for him.
Maybe. I still am going to point out that if it's there, I will acknowledge it. And part of the reason I'm acknowledging is, would you agree that Israel right now has been getting blamed for a lot, and that there's a little anti-Semitism problem going on right now? Because I guarantee, hold on, let me finish. I guarantee you there are people who are locking and loading on this, and they're saying, here we go again. Israel is telling Trump to do this.
What is the again? It's never happened in American history. They have not put boots on the ground in either Israel or into this scenario there. So there's nothing to base it on.
Well,
it just never happened. This guy has put out 8 wars in the span of 9 months. And he needs the ability to saber rattle without his own people undermining him, is my only point.
Well, and he can saber rattle all day. He could say
he just did, and you're undermining him by saying this.
No, well, you know what? I'm just pointing out. He can missile, he can shoot missiles. There's a million ways to do it. He doesn't have to say very specifically.
Okay.
Something that implies that, because it may not even be
you're taking one of his tools off the table because you don't like the way it sounds.
Well, I am concerned about what other people are going to interpret and how it goes. So, let's see how it goes. I already would like to see a lot of the BS calm down, and the anti-Semitism calm down, and the anti-Israel bit calm down. This doesn't calm it down. So, whatever.
Okay.
Everybody in the chat and comments, go ahead and let me know. That's fine. I don't care. Now, more is going on in Iran. This is interesting. I don't know. Haven't been able to verify it, but apparently right now they released a directive. This is the claim that this document here, I don't read Farsi or Arabic, so it's difficult for me to go much further. They're claiming though that this is been sent to all the banks and stuff to prepare for blackouts and infrastructure collapse, secure and relocate critical financial data, activate crisis mode parallel payment systems, prepare for system shutdowns, mass disruption, and nationwide instability, and create alternative financial survival mechanisms in case the regime loses control. So they are very close, potentially, to the regime actually falling.
Wow, that would be nice. Well, regimes fall all the time. I mean, historically, it's not.
Sure.
They've had a nice run since 79-ish. So maybe this is as good as it's going to get for them.
Maybe. And again, though, it's kind of like we are very happy to see Libya fall, for example, and how are things going there? We took Iraq down. How are things going there? So it depends on what comes out of it. If it, I hope that if it does fall, because I don't like them, I'd be happy to see them go. I just hope whatever is there isn't like a breakout terror, ISIS type of situation too. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen out of it. I do like the fact that the people are cheering that they want the Shah, go Shah, go Shah, go Shah. So, I mean, I think most people would prefer the Shah over the current regime. I don't know if Tucker and his crowd would, but
yeah, who knows? Who knows?
I don't know. Now, in the other end of the world, we have Maduro apparently is ready to talk.
Well, he's certainly getting the
US
message from the saber rattling. I mean, he also threatened to put boots on the ground.
Oh, okay, now in fairness, I would say this isn't saber rattling.
Okay.
When you are shooting, doing drone strikes and taking out ports, and when you're taking over ships and things like that, that's a little more than a saber rattle. Those are actual action.
They are pinpricks, militarily, Eric. You know what I mean. Okay. In a large scale, I mean, taking out a motorboat, with a missile is not really. It's a type of saber rattling that's beyond verbal, but it's physical. But it's still
oil tankers. Oil tankers are a little more than a fishing boat. But when you take over,
wait, I didn't know they blew up oil tankers.
No, but you took them, you seized them, and that is a direct threat to the economy.
That's been happening since the beginning of the Ukraine-Russian war, and nobody said anything about it. We've seized hundreds of them all around the world. The Europeans seized them, we seized them. This is just part of seizure. And so, I mean, it's cutting off Cuba's oil and some Chinese extra oil, but it's I don't know if that's militarily the same as bombing a city.
Well, okay. Again, depending how you look at it, and we did drone strike ports and hit places. So now we're just arguing scale. A saber rattle is a saber rattle's a threat. I'm saying this is beyond a saber rattle. Right. I'm not saying not to do it.
If it was Uruguay versus Venezuela, I would call it out war. But when you are the world's leading superpower with a military stronghold of every weapon on the earth, this is our version of saber rattling, in my humble opinion. If it was Uruguay versus Paraguay and this was happening, at that level, that becomes a level of war, but not when we have so much at our disposal and we're just doing this. So it is our version of saber rattling at a superpower level, is all I'm saying.
Okay.
I mean, it's
to me, a saber rattle is a threat, and action is an action, and now we're just getting into scale. And again, I'm not saying not to seize, but it is considered an act of war. With many countries, if you seize their economic ability and things,
you could say we declared war on Russia then by seizing all their assets.
Well, and they have claimed that.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, there are claims to that, and a lot of it's just that we're too big for you to do anything about it. If you flip it, and let's say they drone struck Baltimore. Let's say that Venezuela hit Baltimore with some drones. Do you think that would be interpreted? Hey, that's just saber rattling, man. That's just a pinprick. No, they would be leveled. They would be flat out leveled. So,
well, I don't think they would be leveled, but and that would be some drone to go all that way. You think they could go that far?
Hold on. Let me answer this.
Okay.
I act like the U.S. isn't supposed to fire a single missile in order to accomplish a goal. I didn't say that. And the port they destroyed is literally the one they ship drugs out of. Is well documented. Again,
that's true.
I didn't say not to do it. I at least 5 times said I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong to do it. I'm saying it's more than a saber rattle.
Okay,
that's it. So, good God, people. But anyway, if they hit us, it is what it is. TDS. What? Okay. Anyway, any more thoughts on that?
Me, you talking? Or I'm not looking at the comment section, so I don't know what you're fighting there against.
No, they're saying that I hate Trump, obviously, because I
no.
ask questions. How dare I?
I trust Trump. When it comes to these things, he has a proven track record of pulling these things off. The rhetoric is, to me, it's his rhetoric to intimidate them. I don't crawl into a fetal position and think the next minute he's putting 500,000 troops into fucking Iran. I just don't believe it. Yep, and I got to give him this is just me. I got to give him the political leeway to saber rattle rhetorically with the Iranian regime. And if he has in the past saying, I will level you. I believe that's his type of rhetoric. He has used single missile strikes very effectively during his career as a politician. And that seems to be his method of operation. His rhetoric is much louder for political purposes and attempting to get things done. I'm just used to it.
Right. And I'm hoping that it is, just rhetoric, and I hope it's effective. That's all. Now, if we revisit this and we all of a sudden see that they're like, let's take it out a little bit. What if he sends in the SEALs and does a couple strikes there? No, I'm asking you a question. Are you cool with that then, Mark? If we're
again, he's never done it, so I can't. You keep saying these what ifs. They kept saying World War III was going to happen when he struck the Iranian nuclear plant.
I didn't say that.
I said they. I didn't say you. Relax, pal. Relax. He has never had this in his track record. So for me to extrapolate is to undermine him and his rhetoric against a foreign power who is our enemy. I'm not in the desire or the position to do that.
Okay. Well, and that's where I'm saying I hope it doesn't come to troops on the ground. I hope that this, goes out. A lot of it is you don't say anything, and Israel will go and send a bunch of people in, which they are wont to do, which is fine.
Let them knock them out. Not go for it. I mean, it has nothing to do with our troops on the ground.
And that's all I'm hoping for.
You'll be rewarded. It'll be fine. Relax. You'll be good.
I'm just pointing out that he did make a statement. I hope that's not the case. So anyway, I don't know if you saw this. This is an interesting story.
Oh yeah, that's bye-bye Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
This is a major publication shutting down all physical print copies. That's that kind of sucks.
Well, you could get it online. I mean, I don't know. I get the Epic Times in print and online. I read that. I get the LA Times online, and the others I don't subscribe to. So it depends, what you can afford and what you want to pay for in print or in hand. You can get both with certain periodicals.
True, but I'm going to push your argument back to you. One of the advantages to a print edition out there is you can't just change it the next day. You can't. You can't do a stealth edit.
I don't really look at I don't look at the Atlanta Constitutional Journal as a paper of record, so I don't really care. I don't have a dog in the hunt, so you just couldn't manage it, financially. Okay, it's a free market economy out there. I don't look at them as the leftist paper of record. They are a leftist paper, so I'm not shedding crocodile tears over the loss of another leftist newspaper.
Well, I mean, isn't that almost kind of a redundant?
What?
Leftist newspaper?
No, I would be concerned if the New York Post did that. I would be more concerned about it if the Post had done it, or than I would by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, paper.
Well, we'll see how it goes. I mean, I kind of find it a sad piece of nostalgia in some ways. Like it's sort of like the penny. We had the last penny go. No. It is what it is. But it is kind of sad on that. So,
well, they may make money online and save jobs. I don't know.
They might, but I mean, it's happening in a lot of places.
Yeah,
a lot of the problems we have had is the consolidation of the papers, where. I mean, like growing up, we had the Arizona Daily Star and the Tucson Citizen, and the Star was kind of more of a left wing, and the Citizen was more of a right wing. And I think it was pretty common in a lot of cities that you had the two papers, and they sort of, battled it out, and one would have one voice, one would have the other voice, and it was sort of balance. And then as they consolidated, that's when we went into what I almost want to call fiction of just straight journalism, that because or consolidated, so we can't have an opinion. But then, of course, over time that slipped, and all the papers pretty much went into usually a leftist.
Yeah, you could read the LA Times about the weather, and by the third paragraph, they're blaming Trump for just the weather report. You know, saying that his climate change policies have led to these Pineapple Express things, and you just going like, wait, I just wanted to read about the fucking weather. What is this editorial doing in here in paragraph 3?
True.
Yeah.
Which is that, or I mean, like an obituary of somebody, it would be like, what was it? I'll never forget, like they did the Fidel Castro obituary, and it was like, Fidel Castro, a leader to his people, blah, 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 all down. And then it was like the IKEA guy. And they were like, known creepy IKEA owner or whatever. I'm just like, God, you can't even, even on the obituary.
I know.
It was just
they're fighting a 5-front war. So there's no place that is safe from their influence.
No. And I think that it is because, it's sourced from education. So it's a perfect place for that. So while we're on that, though, let's go to the laws, as we're going to talk about.
Oh, okay.
I want to start with
fun.
I want to start with the Virginia laws, and people seem to like.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
people are complaining about the animals, but they'll get over it. Okay, so this is Virginia. These are the new laws that are coming into effect in 2026. We have minimum wage increase. Interesting. Okay. I'm sitting here thinking, God, it wasn't that long ago that $12.77 would have been a lot of money to me. Social media limits for minors. That might be interesting.
This is spreading around the world. It's not just Virginia. This is spreading throughout the country and Australia, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm not really against that. If the parents aren't doing it, putting it on the companies, they can figure it out. Breast cancer testing will be more affordable. I guess they're prohibiting health insurance companies from charging co-pays, deductibles, etc. for the testing. Baby food protection. Telephone solicitations by text message.
That's a good one.
I like this. They can reply with unsubscribe or stop, and they have to, supposedly.
Yeah, we already have
come up with a new number
here. Yeah,
they'll come with a new number, though. Unemployment compensation is going to increase. And then this is an interesting one. Itemized bill
in traffic criminal cases.
So if you get a fine or restitution or whatever, you can request an itemized bill. Now, the reason why I wanted to do Virginia first is
what do we have? Contrast.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, 7. It's not.
That's fair. That's
I'm not burying you with a ton of.
No. The word lawmaker, when you're a lawmaker, it doesn't say, law investigator. It says you make laws. You go to work every day, and you go home from work, and your wife says, "Did you make any laws today, honey?" And he says, "No, it was a bad day. I couldn't make any laws." In California, they come home from work, and they just go, "I made 10 laws today, honey. Let's have a drink." I am a lawmaker, baby.
Yeah, you are. And we're about to see that when I can get through the stupid CAPTCHA. On the other hand, so we have Virginia. And by the way, I would argue, and this is something that my wife Leslie pointed out to me, because in Arizona, she was like, "What's up with all these proposition, like all these things?"
We invented that. We invented that.
Oh, I know. We got all your people. Thank you.
Yeah.
But anyway, she was like, "We don't have that kind of crap. What's going on?" And her theory, and there may be something to it, is Virginia's been around for 400 damn years.
Yeah.
And a lot of things are a lot more settled. California is far younger and generating all the time.
To be honest, the constitutions of both states are older, and the ballot initiatives is in the state constitution of California. So it's not anything new. It's actually in our constitution and not in the Virginia constitution. And both constitutions are fairly old. So both of them have different things in there. We have that ballot initiative thing. It's not anything new.
Yeah.
The abuse of it is new, but it's still something that's been in the California Constitution. and not apparently in the Virginia. And most states don't have it.
Right. And Virginia's a Commonwealth. Or
Right.
State. Anyway, but I'm just saying, though, again, even as old as is, Virginia's Constitution is slightly younger than the U.S. Constitution.
Right.
By a smidge. But it's interesting. So now with the California, we have plenty to talk about. We're not going to be able
every
to
year, though. I mean, this is
I know that's a sick part of it.
It's just beautiful every year. You have to look at the article because nobody knows until January 1st. And local news covers this as almost an alert. You know, like the baby seat is now you have to be 13 years old to sit in a baby seat in the back. And there's just so many crazy things that it becomes like a public service to at least go through them.
Right, which is actually, it's so perfect for big government people, because I forgot the name of the book, but it was like 3 laws a day or some garbage like that. Like,
yeah,
but because the federal has so many laws too, you're literally breaking the law all the time. You never even know that you're breaking the law half the time. Like, one weird example, and it actually happened to me here, is we came up with they came up with a law, which I kind of agree with, though, is if somebody's on the side of the road on the interstate, by law, you are required to go over a lane and while you pass them to make sure there's full safety.
That's a good one.
And it is a good one, but I had no idea about this. And I got pulled over by a cop because I was just driving like normal. And he pulled me over and I was like, what? I'm not from here. I'm military. And he's like, well, do it, do that from now on. I'm like, okay, cool. So it's a good law, but I just was like, I had no idea. And I feel like that these laws potentially are like that, where they could prosecute you or charge you or fine you or do whatever and use them as a way to bully you into whatever else they want.
Oh, well, that's definitely true.
So let me see. Okay, we'll go into.
You
have so many. You have categories. There's so damn many of them.
I cherry picked a few where I copied and pasted and messaged you because there's a paywall, so I didn't know if you would get through it. But
that's why I have an archived version here.
I picked out a few of my favorites. Let's see what you come up with here.
All right. Well, we got the health. You got fertility treatments, cheaper insulin. That's fine. No biggie. Getting the. Oh, great. Protection for immigrants. Of course. Here we go. Healthcare officials are prohibited from disclosing a patient's immigration status.
Okay. Yeah, that one we knew. Deleting social media and volume control. 2 separate things. I told you about the volume control a couple of weeks ago. That was SB 576 will be prohibited from airing video streaming services will be prohibited from airing ads that are allowed.
Social media.
What's that?
I found the deleting social media here.
Right. The one above that, before that, is volume control. Video streaming services under SB 576 prohibits streaming services from blasting ads, Eric, that are louder than the shows or other video content they are providing. Federal law already bans that practice on broadcast stations and cable channels. So now I'm telling you right now, this is the best law they came up with.
I like this law.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah.
I like the next one too.
Deleting social media?
No. I mean, this is before that. The overdraft fees. If you've ever been in a bind, like where something happens with your account and it gets below zero, and all of a sudden 100, a bunch of checks bounce, all of a sudden your debt load gets so heavy.
Oh yeah.
You could get in some extreme trouble. So
right.
This is preventing them from charging overdraft fees exceeding $14.
That's a good one.
Is still a lot of money, but they can get crazy.
Well, deleting social media.
This is a good one too. I like it. The button.
The button. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, major social media platforms are required to provide users a button in the account settings that allows them to delete their account and make that button accessible on any format used to access the platform, including cell phones, computers, and tablets, Eric. Passed in 2025 requires social media platforms to delete the personal information in a user's account when they cancel.
I think California might have borrowed this one from the EU.
Okay. I wouldn't be surprised. That's where they get a lot of this shit.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, but that one I think is a good one too. And it's like right to forget or something. I forget what they call it, but I like the idea too, because especially think of how stupid high schoolers are, especially or young people, and then they put crap online, and then suddenly they're applying for a job in 10 years, they've got their life together, and look what you did there, Johnny. What did you say here? What did you say
about
there?
this? What do you make of this one, protecting kids from AI, Eric?
I think there needs to be protections from AI. I don't know what they're saying here. Some of it's kind of weird.
Companies are required to notify users, teenagers, at least every 3 hours to take a break, and that the chatbot is not human. So in other words, it's an alert that you've been working over 3 hours. I don't know how effective it's going to be. And then
that's the part that I'm kind of going, okay.
They're 16 years old, Eric, who are doing this. They are also required to implement reasonable measures to prevent companion chatbots from generating sexually explicit content. This was enacted to prevent production of suicide or self-harm content, put in protections such as referring.
Well, there is a giant problem with the self-harm stuff. And there are cases where they're saying, that ChatGPT actually gave advice on how to accomplish blah, 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 blah. And there's ways around it. I'm just saying that it's like, oh, stop, take a break. Okay. So they walk away for 10 minutes and go right back to it. I mean, I don't know how effective the take a break thing is.
It's an alert.
Content is interesting, and it is a giant problem. I don't know if that's going to stop people from doing it, because again, you could run an LLM locally on your computer that is completely uncontrolled, etc.
Again, these are measures to protect basically high school and junior high school kids, Eric.
Which I agree with trying to.
Are they foolproof? Of course not. Of course not.
Right. Well, and that's why I said the whole taking a break.
Okay. It's something. It's just something. It's better than nothing.
I guess the idea of reminding people that the chatbot is not human.
Not necessarily
not
every 11-year-old knows that, and there's been cases here where they've developed relationships with insane. You know what I'm talking about? These emotional relationships with chatbots.
Right. I agree. Well, that's why I said that's not necessarily a bad thing to remind them.
Yeah.
I just hope it's not just there's a little, just so you know, it's not real. I would prefer, and I don't know if it'll happen, is to put it into the programming itself.
Okay.
Where as you're talking to it, and if somebody's talking to it and they're kind of acting in a manner, just that the AI starts responding saying, you do understand.
I think
I am not a real human being. Well, I don't know how they're implementing it. That's why I'm.
What about this new state holiday that you support so strongly? I don't understand why you love Diwali.
I don't even know what it is.
All I know is Hanukkah has been called the Festival of Lights for 5,000 years. I don't know how they hijacked this Festival of Lights phrase to assign it to Diwali. And you love the Diwali people, Eric. Don't deny it.
Yeah, wherever they are.
I don't. What about
I asked you
aren't
to
you
point
an
it out.
advocate of the Jain faith? You've always mentioned the Jain faith as being righteous. It symbolizes the victory of light over darkness. Makes California the third state. This is not even the first state.
Where is Diwali anyways? In your India? I mean, I quite literally don't even know.
I have no idea.
Okay. That's funny.
But it's now you can take the day off, and that's all that matters.
All right. I like this is funny. I thought Diwali made power tools.
I thought it was a power tool also, but apparently Connecticut and Pennsylvania are way ahead of it. I added that thing. Hanukkah is called the Festival of Lights. That's from me, but nevertheless, they now have a Sikh holiday where the 7-Elevens of California will finally be closed.
Okay, so it's got to be in India or near India. Oh, all right, fair enough. So, all right, well,
now what do you make of this AI and public safety? Large artificial intelligence companies will be required to publicly disclose their security protocols.
I think that's
good or bad.
Both.
Okay.
I hate things that I can argue on both sides because, like, I like the open source principle where if you have something open source, that means that the code is available and people can go look at the code and see what it's doing.
Yeah.
That's something that Elon Musk has done with X. He's like released the source code saying this is what's going on, blah, blah. People can look at it. That's good. My only worry is that if they disclose too much information, they could be telling people how to hack it.
Did you see how much the penalty is, by the way?
$1 million. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little draconian.
Right. But the problem is that who are you going to enforce it against? You get some North Korea hackers or Russian hackers or whatever. Okay. Who's going to pay the money? It's threatening the companies here in the United States. Sure that we're going to do it, but they're probably not going to do it anyway. It's a foreign operators or actors that are going to do it. So I don't know. I get it. It's a lot of money, but I don't know if you'll see it.
Lyft and Uber drivers can unionize, Eric. Finally, hundreds of thousands of ride-hail drivers can unionize and bargain collectively while still being classified as independent contractors. I don't know how that works. But this has been a thorn in the side of unionized California since the beginning of Uber and Lyft. They've attempted to form this into a union, and none of the drivers want to unionize. And now they are literally taking it to the next level, saying you can unionize and still be an independent contractor to try to bait them into unionizing. They've tried everything on the earth. Mom and pop operators and I say mom and pop because it's literally a mom and pop operation of people driving Lyft and Uber out here, of people who are doing it on the side, of people who are doing it because they need extra money. There are professional Uber drivers, don't get me wrong, but it seems to be a lot of mom and pop operators who have no desire to unionize or do anything except make some extra money by driving, during their free time, Eric.
I've ridden with many of them. They've got a normal job and they drive on Saturdays to get extra money for the grandkids or the retired, or there's a million reasons. But what I love about this is it's like say camel nose in the tent.
Absolutely.
What they'll say, you're right. Okay, you can unionize and be independent. And then next year, sorry, the union rules state you can't be independent.
Absolutely. That's exactly what they're going for here. I don't know if anybody's going to buy it, but they're going to try to next force a vote among drivers to actually unionize. That's the next move, is to force the vote. More oil. This is interesting. Bowing to Trump, California has legislated that oil production can finally ramp up and will allow 2,000 new wells annually in Kern County, effective through 2036. The law, which drew ire from California environmentalists, is intended to prevent a spike in gas prices amid refinery closures. I've added the word Trump in there. This is them responding to the physical and political threats by Trump.
I think it's great. I believe in drill, baby, drill 100%. My one question, though, is does it really mitigate against the refineries? Because you have to have the refinery for it to be of any value. If you're drilling more oil, that's fantastic.
Feeble.
But that doesn't make the price go down if you can't get it refined.
No, feeble. This was an attempt to mitigate drill, baby, drill, saying we're in on this too. We're not opposed to it. Look at us. We've got some wells out in Kern County, and it's a spit in the ocean.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's a spit in the ocean. It's political. Now, this one I love because this has now gone full circle. Gender-neutral bathrooms. All public schools in California will be required to provide at least one all-gender bathroom starting July 1st. Now, keep in mind, they fought this tooth and nail as the original solution to the gender problem. They're not putting that in the bill. They've now come 360 million degrees in a full circle and are now going to force every school in the state to build a freestanding gender-neutral bathroom by July 1st, costing millions and millions of construction dollars. The irony is this was the original solution, the original idea by conservatives to deal with this problem, and they were apoplectic about it, saying each gender goes into the bathroom that they decide. Well, after 10 million incidents nationally, they've now come around to the original conception of having a bathroom just for like a freak bathroom that anybody doesn't fit in anywhere goes into that bathroom.
By the way, Ruth in the chat, gender neutral is unisex. It's just saying it's a single bathroom. You open the door, you go in, you close it. There's nobody else there, like a lot of businesses have. So you have like, instead of a normal bathroom that have like 2 stalls and a urinal or what have you, you would just have 3 separate bathrooms.
Well, keep in mind just the sheer amount of construction that's going to happen in old schools, elementary, middle schools, high schools, building in every single one of them multiple versions of this within the school itself.
True. You know, I kind of, when I was in England, I saw a version that could be possible, and in Iceland, where the bathrooms are kind of a combination. So while we have, you know, for example, here we have our stalls, and you can look under and you know, see people's feet and stuff. They literally have like floor to ceiling. Boom! It's like a door, and I wouldn't necessarily be against it, saying, okay, you know what? We've got a bathroom and we have a line of stalls, and they go floor to ceiling. You can't see in them, and it could be men, it could be women. It doesn't matter who goes in there. You only see them when you're washing your hands. That seems like that could be a way to do it at high school and not have the problems.
It could be, but it's too late. It could be because the ruling here is the gender neutral bathrooms. All public schools in California will be required to provide at least one all gender bathroom. That is a construction order in California terms to build these things, not split up not existing bathrooms. This July 1st, they're going to have to come up with actual floor plans of how they're going to rectify this. Which is kind of interesting. And of course, the contracts will go to their friends, Eric.
Right. What I'm laughing about, though, depending on what kind of school you have or whatever, is, you know, where I grew up in Tucson, we had campus schools. So all the way from elementary through high school, I would have a classroom in like a quad, and then another building here, another building here, another building, all over the place. So you could literally say, okay, here's the bathroom. It's on the other side of the damn campus. There's your bathroom. Good luck to you.
Could be. But I think what they're going to try to do is put them right next to the pre-existing men and women.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay, well, we discussed that. I'm going to build a new separate free minute. Cell phones in classrooms, Eric. Public schools are required to adopt a policy by July 1st to prohibit or limit the use of smartphones by students when they are on campus.
Good idea.
Good or bad? What do you think?
I'd say good.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. I mean, and maybe it's our age. Somehow we were able to survive and actually go into class and have to deal with the whole period.
Will the parents allow it? Because a lot of these helicopter parents are going to go batshit crazy, saying I can't contact my child for whatever reason 24/7. They're going to flip out, Eric. Some of them.
You can contact the well, again, when you and I went to school and some emergency happened with the family, they would dial the office. Hello, and
I got two words.
Johnny, come to.
No, I agree, but I got 2 words for you to mitigate that: school shootings. You tell the parents they can't contact their kids during a school shooting, Eric.
Well, the cameras in the classroom will help, but
no, of course that's one of my pet peeves. But you try to mitigate this with parents, and the parent says to the administrator, "What if there's a school shooting?" What's your answer to that?
What if? I don't know.
No, I mean, there's obviously been plenty of these things. These parents are not going to take this lying down, I believe. We'll move on to the next one, but I think that this thing is going to be a tough sell.
It could be. I don't know. But, I kind of want to think it out because you bring up a great problem.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll be a phone in every classroom.
Okay.
A centralized phone. I'm not really sure. On that, you bring up a good point.
Imagine a class of 40 kids with no cell phones, and there's an active shooter.
Yeah,
it's an awkward situation.
No, it is. It's an interesting point.
Yeah. I'm just pulling that out of my ass, but
no. People, please comment below because it is an interesting question, and I think people
I just thought about it, but I mean, it is a problem. I mean, these parents are not going to go quietly into the night, having their kids' cell phones taken away. For their own protection. Okay, the illegal immigration raids. Federal immigration agents, and this is a silly one, are barred from non-public areas of public schools unless they have a judicial warrant or court order. Under AB 49, school districts are also prohibited from providing information about pupils, their families, teachers, and school employees to immigration authorities without a warrant. SB 98 also requires school administrators to notify families and students if federal agents conduct immigration operations on a K-12 or college campus. Now, this is extremely broad, Eric. I wanted to get your take on this because I think most of this is unconstitutional.
Yeah, we'll see how it holds up.
Just because it's a school doesn't mean it's a separate nation.
No, and it's a public school.
Right, of course.
No, it's public property.
Right.
So,
I mean, this just seems insane. There's like 4 bills here tied together, 49, and there's a couple of others that were also supporting of this. But 49, this just seems completely unconstitutional.
Yeah, it's I would like to see it when it goes into effect. Obviously, it's something that can be challenged pretty quickly, and we'll have to run it up the poll. I mean, every law technically has to face or could potentially face a challenge. So
right. Now, what about this one? They really battled this to the death. They lost this one, but State Office for Civil Rights of Anti-Semitism will be created to combat anti-Semitism and other forms of discrimination. It doesn't go into detail on that. In California schools was among the most hotly contested education-related measures, which is insane. Spawning from dissatisfaction largely among a coalition of Jewish groups with the way ethnic studies have been taught in some California classrooms. On Wednesday, a federal judge in San Jose rejected a lawsuit filed by the Arab American Anti-Discrimination Committee on behalf of a group of, I presume, Arab educators and students who challenged the law clearing AB 715 to take effect. What's your opinion of that situation?
I think it's, I would want them to elevate other groups too. Just to, I think, make it easier if they say, you can't deal with any ethnicity, race, creed, color, whatever. I would prefer it to be more expansive just to cover everything. But I find it odd. I mean, what is your argument to say that I should be prevented from making anti-Semitic remarks at school? I'm very confused. I'm just saying, like, how do you argue that, or what is the logical?
Well, this came out of the administrations of multiple schools, college, middle school, high schools, and community colleges of not doing anything to rectify the physical, verbal, and psychological harassment of Jewish students on these campuses who were paid students on these campuses. They refused to do anything, and they finally came up with this partial solution that was fought to the death by Arab organizations up until the bill is being implemented now.
Yeah, and I see the chat's already going off, talking about free speech. Okay, well, free speech is great on the sidewalk. It's great in a public area. In a classroom, go ahead and just start saying the N-word, and yelling at students, and then
see how brave
you tell me about your free speech, and while you're at it, do every other class, because there's something called decorum too.
Yeah,
and I don't think it's untoward. Or why don't you wear some pornographic, clothing and things like that, and and just walk around, and everybody's going to be cool with you.
The bill also covers ethnic studies as a course guideline within the schools that are teaching that Palestine is the country in the Middle East. I mean, the levels of teaching, this also covers the teaching part that's not about free speech. It's about the ethnic studies courses in these schools teaching that Zionism is Nazism, Israel does not have the right to exist, that Israel is a fascist nation, it doesn't exist, that Palestine will be free. It goes on and on and on. But this addresses the draconian methods in the ethnic studies in this Middle East courses, in community and college level courses.
Now,
and some in high school, some actually in high school.
Right. By the way, on the flip side of that, I don't want people teaching that as the quote unquote truth. However, when I went to high school, I actually had a class about totalitarian studies, or what, I don't remember how to put it, but they taught this is what communism is. This is what they believe. This is what this country. And I think that there is definitely room for, there are movements, and this is what they believe, and this is what they teach, and that this is what we teach. I don't mind if you step back and say, this is something that's out there, and you're not endorsing it. You're just putting it out there as there's something that people are doing, and here are the problems. Like trying to, it's not necessarily supporting Nazism by teaching how that happened to get into World War II.
But these classes are going in one direction on the entire
they're teaching it as if they're saying, hey, from the river to the sea. Which is not, but I'm not saying to teach that as the thing. I'm just saying it's important that people are aware that there's these things out there. I don't know.
You may like this one. This is the meow kind of bill, pause and clause. Declawing a cat in California, Eric, and you'll be happy to know it's now illegal unless the surgery is medically necessary. AB 867 bans the procedure, which entails amputating the first bone of each of a feline's toes or severing the tendons. I didn't know about this. The bill's author previously called the cat declawing bill the practice barbaric and inhumane. You're a cat person, so what is your take on this?
I mean, if a cat doesn't,
I don't have a dog in the hunt on this.
Very funny, but it would be similar as detoothing a dog, in a way. If a cat doesn't have claws, they can't defend themselves, and if the cat gets away, then it's almost a death sentence to them.
So you're against it or for it?
Well, I mean,
it's illegal now, unless
it's illegal now.
Surgery is medically necessary.
Right. Well, and I don't like to mess with animals. I don't even necessarily like docking the tails on dogs. I mean, do you need that, or clipping the ears on Dobermans?
Boxers,
I know.
Yeah.
But is that actually a necessity?
Not really.
So that's kind of where
you can say that about circumcision too.
And I don't know that circumcision should be mandated.
Okay.
And I definitely don't like female circumcision. I think
clitorectomies you're talking about.
Yeah, there's big problems there. So, it's hard to go against somebody that's saying leave them alone unless it's necessary.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, those are some that I cherry picked out of the hundreds of new laws. So,
there's plenty.
Just to give you a overview of some of the new ones that I didn't even know about. So I had to watch and read them myself. Every year, the same thing. Nobody's aware of these when they're being made because they implement them. They just say it's implemented January 1st or July 1st. Some of them are July 1st.
Yeah, we're going to have new ones in Virginia in July, maybe. Probably. I figure July cannabis will be mandated for everybody to have as much as possible here.
You should get a free pipe with the cannabis. I think you should get a free bong or a vape to go with it as a giveaway.
Fair enough.
And a starter kit. How about a starter kit?
Fair enough. By the way, what was it in Virginia? Of course, the new governor, one of her earliest things is to create a diversity officer.
Right. No, it's
So,
just going to go
we're
back
right on
and
track.
forth. It's just going to go back and forth forever until we drive a stake into this socialist movement. I knew this day was coming. Even when I was in high school, I knew this day was coming, that these two opposed philosophies politically cannot coexist in the same nation state. And now we have literally a situation where we're just going to go back and forth between capitalism and communism on a cyclical election basis.
Yep. And by the way, all this just points out to me more and more, Joseph McCarthy was a freaking hero.
I wish there was a new McCarthy to deal with this thing, because they vilified McCarthy for a purpose, and that was to prevent another McCarthy from ever coming to power.
Yep, because he was effective.
Yeah, he was very effective. So was Roy Cohn, and so were the Kennedys, who were on McCarthy's. They were on his investigative team. The Kennedys. They knew what was going on.
True. Now, you know who does know what's going on? It's the super chatters.
Oh, they might be. I don't know.
Not the other wild chat that's been picking on me.
What chat are you on now? The super chat or the regular chat?
I'm on the super chat because because they're nice. Like Pamela.
This woman seems very nice. Yeah,
Pamela is wonderful.
She doesn't call us names or anything.
No, doesn't make
people
false
get
claims.
so worked up over this stuff. It's so insane. How isn't there other things you can get worked up about than a YouTube channel?
I don't know.
It's two guys talking about shit in the news. What the hell's so complicated?
And we don't always agree, people. I mean,
just like I don't agree with everyone at home. It's weird, man.
Well, one thing that bothers me is, doesn't it irritate? Well, not irritate you, but do you enjoy channels as much when everybody's in lockstep and it's a complete echo? Like, no, you're right. You're right, Bob. This is
of course not.
It's kind of boring to me. AV8 Picks gifted 10 America's Untold Stories memberships. So Thank you very much. Very, very generous. And you're good to see you here again. Relatively new. Dick Dickerson's been a member for 37 months. Wow.
Oh, he's from the Haifa. He's roaming around as a reporter in Haifa. That's great.
Yeah, I see that. Have a great year. Well, thank you, Dick, and good. Have fun. Al Gonzalez, here we go. Billing it from New York. Mamdani will learn that every NYPD cop takes an oath to uphold the U.S. Constitution, not the Communist Manifesto.
That's funny.
His orders that violate that will be challenged by the police union and taken to court. By the way, Al, did you see that there's already one cop who put in for a waiver to not have to salute the U.S. flag because he's Muslim and he doesn't salute anything other than... No, I'm not kidding. It's already happening.
Weird.
And I'll be curious because
I think there should be a day of hijab where all the regular cops wear the hijab, Al, for one day. Every cop, every single in mock support, they wear the hijab for 24 hours. Bounce that off your friends. I want to see what they say about that. And they go to Yankee Stadium for a Yankee game wearing the hijab too on the day off.
By the way, make sure they know this is Mark Grobert out of Los Angeles, California, suggesting this.
They could contact me or my dad, Cy, and we will deal with the letters of inquiry.
Oh, by the way, the chat did say you're auditioning to be Maytag repairman today.
Well, this is my dad's jacket when he was with the this group here, the Flying Tigers. I'm just wearing it in honor of him. And the hat for the fire department here in LA, which is just overwhelmed.
Yeah, well, I mean,
just showing some love.
Wasn't that long? I mean, we're coming into a year of the Palisade fires.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Diffuse gifted 10 America's Untold Stories memberships. Thank you very much, Tractor Guy. Sorry,
there was a report written by the fire department that was redacted by the mayor's office, and now he has this thing's become a brouhaha over the action report a year later on what happened, and the mayor's office has rewritten it, and the guy who wrote it is not happy about it.
Well, I think he will continue to be unhappy, probably. Justin Wright, 7297. In 2009, the Wisconsin National Guard performed workup training for deployment in Florida. 3,700 guardsmen bust down, and we had a blizzard follow us all the way. It was funny watching the locals wearing Arctic gear for 28-degree weather. Well, I'd be hiding in the house at 28 degrees. I mean, we get that here occasionally, but not in general. It usually stays in the 40s. Like, today is probably upper 30s, 40s, somewhere in there. And Mark's sitting here going, yeah, I don't know. It gets
I don't know.
chilly down at 60 something sometimes. It can be rough.
Let's see what it is right now. It's a little inclement today, obviously. Oh, yeah, it's 65.
Well, that's rough.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for you, man. Dick Dickerson. Trump told Maduro
That's funny.
to go get his effing shine.
That's funny. Bucks. That's really funny. That's funny. I don't shine shoes anymore, Joey. Maybe you heard.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, Maduro's going to have to, exit stage left at some point. I found the thing so sudden and so fascinatingly aggressive that it really just spun my head around how quickly Trump went after this guy. And I'm proud that he's doing it and forcing him out of power without basically firing a shot.
True. Karen Toff on Rumble with the Rumble Rant said, you guys should have Carlin Borensinko on. She's doing great work on the New Left and infiltrates their meetings. She records them and exposes them.
I like that.
Yeah, she does.
Unfortunately, they don't care about being exposed. They're way past this. This right-wing outrage thing isn't cutting it anymore, bro. And I've talked to Eric about this before. They do not care that you're outraged by what they're doing. They're on a mission from their atheistic avatar, whatever they worship, and they could care less if somebody's recording them. I mean, it's commendable that she's doing it, but unless you physically stop them by either jailing them or killing them, recording them is not going to cut it.
True. Let me see. Flea Speech. Eric and Mark, thank you for all the shows. Happy 2028. Stay safe. Love from Denmark. So
Denmark. A lot of fans in Denmark.
Yeah, we've got Denmark. We've got entry required in Sweden. We've got Pew Pew in Norway. So we're covering the whole Nordic area. And no Bernie Sanders. They are not socialists.
Up there. No, they're the first ones to tell you that.
Oh, no, they get pissed.
Yeah.
I forgot which prime minister it was, but he's like, we are not socialists.
Socialists, yes.
We are capitalists with a strong safety net. But anyway, Big Bill 767 has to say, I'm donating $21.65 in honor of the minimum wage in the city of Tukwila, Washington. Most of the rest of the communist state of Washington is now $17.13.
Wow.
Jeez.
Wow. That's enormous up there, Bill.
Yeah, you know what? That's $21.60. That's over $40,000. That's over $40,000 a year. Minimum wage.
Minimum wage, yeah. Yeah. The lowest job you could get is going to pay you 40 G's in some west buttfuck town up there. And you know what I mean? Washington State. This is not,
I don't know how close that is to Seattle, suburb wise.
Well, the point is, it's not Seattle. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I know.
Right.
Well, I don't know. It's insane. All right. Anthony Medicine right on time with Australia $2. Can you guess what Anthony has to say from Australia?
I don't know. It's something about Trump.
Trump's fault.
Whoa.
All right. Tim McLaughlin, 3409, is saying our local school district here in Georgia passed no cell phones in classrooms this year.
Wow.
K to 12. The state of Georgia has a law in effect for 2026, no cell phones in schools K to 8. So it's possible. Somebody pointed out an interesting idea. They said that you could have essentially the Faraday bags like they have at the clubs, and there could be an emergency opening mechanism in case of your scenario. I don't know.
That's where they do go when you have to get rid of your cell phones anyway. So that in other words, when you come to school with a cell phone, if it's banned, it goes into that type of a locker or Faraday situation. The question is access, Eric, in a school shooting.
Right. Well, and that's where if they have them with them, like I think when you go to a club, your phone's in a bag, and then on the way out they give you, unlock it or whatever. That'll be a giant pain in the ass. So it's like,
Okay.
because every time going into class, all right, phone's in the bag. All right, now on the way out, here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go. So the classroom time will be cut down by 5 to 10 minutes because of the de-bagging of the phones.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a real problem.
So who is this? This is William Ratcliffe. And he said, another great show.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. You never hear anything from Ratcliffe, the head of the CIA, anymore.
No.
Have you ever heard anything from this guy? Well, she does speak on occasion, but Ratcliffe never.
No, but I'm just saying that I feel like both of them went silent because they were talking like about a week apart over the summer. When was the last time you heard from Tulsi too? Hear from FBI.
No, she was doing something the other day. I don't know what it was. I saw her in something with Caroline Levitt, who I predict will be leaving soon.
Probably in March, yeah.
But as for the CIA director, I haven't heard from him for over 6 months.
Yeah, well, you know what? CIA directors aren't always the most talkative people in the administration.
Right.
See, Charlie Don't Surf has been a member for 17 months. Thank you, Charlie. We appreciate that. Mike Schaefer. I agree. I don't agree.
That's funny.
That's fair enough. Let's see here. And then Taylor Pollock 7405. Happy Friday. One, I like a little cat fight now and then. Keeps things interesting. And I like the phrase saber rattling. And number two, any news on Reiner's case? Good question.
The daughter of Reiner smokes 28 joints per day and has been on psych meds since she was 15 years of age.
Well, then.
I just want to let you know this is not your typical American family.
No, their family is probably closer, I'm guessing, to this family.
The Adams family?
No, the Jones family.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what happened here.
Well, she's found dead. Now, yeah. I'm just going to say she's found dead, and apparently 3 times in the past year, she's had run-ins with the law. She was arrested, twice in Napa Valley. One was for obstructing a peace officer and being under the influence of a controlled substance and possession of a narcotic controlled substance.
Yeah.
Then another one for domestic battery and domestic violence involving elder abuse, to which she pleaded not guilty.
Yeah.
And then third one, I think she was San Antonio for theft. Now, I could be wrong here, Mark, but for some reason I'm thinking it could be drugs.
I'm going to stick my neck out and say fentanyl. Of course, the Fairmont Hotel is one of the most luxurious hotels in San Francisco. So there was partying going on last night. They found her January 1st. There was partying going on New Year's Eve.
Sure.
And Tommy Lee Jones has the face, the poster boy face of alcoholism. So this may run in her family. There is a daughter who was adopted, the daughter of Rob Reiner, and it was from his marriage to Penny Marshall. It was her child. That adopted daughter has come out publicly to explain how she was ostracized by the rest of the family, filed for bankruptcy, has lived basically as a waitress for many years in a family that is worth about $270 million. So she has come out speaking out about the family now. And she was adopted by Rob Reiner when he married Penny Marshall. It was Penny Marshall's child from when she was in college at the University of New Mexico with a football player when she was 18, and then had the kid. And then the kid came with her to LA eventually. But so that daughter is speaking out about the insanity of that family.
And she's probably fortunate.
Yeah.
She was ostracized.
Yeah.
Ironically.
Yeah.
It's like, she's too busy having to work for a living. Like, isn't that one of the problems with it? It's like, Adam Carolla, I like his analogy. He calls it, he talks about gravity. And his analogy is that the kids, the celebrity kids or whatever, or, you know, rich kids in general, a lot of times, if their parents are too indulgent, they don't ever have to face any adversity or whatever. Everything's pushed out of their way. Kind of like astronauts who are on the space station for extended period of times, they don't have any gravity. And then when they come down to Earth, I mean, they literally are on stretchers. They can barely walk. He's saying that it's kind of a similar principle with some of these celebrity families. And
Tracy Reiner is the one I was referring to, is Penny Marshall's biological daughter. By the way, Penny Marshall always portrayed herself as being among the fray, above the fray in terms of this. Nobody partied harder than Penny Marshall with Belushi and all of the others. This bullshit story that Penny Marshall was this little goody two-shoes, and Carrie Fisher, by the way, two of the hardest drug abusing chicks in Hollywood. Both are gone now, sadly, but they created an image that they were, two goody two-shoes, and they were.
Well, I heard Carrie Fisher was like.
So I'm adding Penny Marshall to that list.
No, I mean, I heard the reverse. I heard that Carrie Fisher had big issues.
Oh, she did. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, no, she went to rehab multiple times, had a sober companion. And by the way, I don't know if anybody got to see the Chevy Chase documentary last night on CNN. It was pretty damn good. That was a lot of fun watching it. It didn't cover everything that I covered in the, going into the nuts and bolts of Chevy's life, but it was a fairly good overview of Chevy's life on CNN. If you could get a chance to look at it, it had a lot of home movies and a lot of photos that I've never seen before. So as a Chase fan, it was worth it for me to see that. And, Chase has some cognitive issues because of his age and the fact that he was in a coma for 8 days. And the director of the movie apparently didn't give a shit. So she was just grilling him on stuff that was a little cognitively off his radar. But he held up fairly well on his own, going back and forth tit for tat with this director that was trying to, I don't know, catch him in some sort of a faux pas or whatever.
So it was a gotcha?
There was gotcha moments where the director is talking to him on camera, and then the rest of the documentary seemed to be made by someone else. So there was there were two types of documentary. There was documentaries with clips, and then there's talking heads talking about him, and people like Goldie Hawn who really love him. He has a lot of friends who really love him, and then there's people that don't like him. So it was a mixed bag, but definitely worth watching. But one of the things I noticed was that he had a guy with him, a young man, every time he was physically interviewed, and they didn't really explain who that was. He was a young guy with him who I presume was his sober companion. They couldn't really explain what his role was. They just said he was his friend, and he was like 30 years old, and it didn't make sense. And I'm guessing that was his full-time sober companion.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just a hunch. The guy, there was no explanation as to who he was. And I mean, if he was his assistant, they could have just said he's my assistant, but they didn't do that. They didn't do that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How does that work? I mean, I know very little about the whole.
You got to live with the guy 24/7.
Well, no, I get that point, but I mean, how long term is this? And are they young because they're not having any other life?
Yeah, it can be years, and you should be, or usually it's a young man's sport, to answer your question, because this guy, whoever this was, had kids. So I don't know, he had a family, but I don't know where they were. And he seemed to be everywhere with Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase went into town to buy flowers. This guy's driving him to get the flowers. Goes to a cafe. This guy's opening his mail for him and pulling out these headshots to sign. He was just with him 24/7. He gave off the vibe to me as a sober companion. Now you say he's 82, but he's been with him for 5 years. So this may be one of those long-term situations. And Chevy according to his wife in the documentary, was literally drinking tons of wine just 4 or 5 years ago, going to rehab again. So it doesn't go away. And I think a lot of his anger issues are from white knuckling his sobriety, which we discussed previously. But it's still a fascinating documentary and worth looking at.
Interesting. When you're talking about the battling with the producer, were they kind of doing what I think was sort of done to Tom O'Neill with Chaos? I feel like they sort of treated it like his story and then just sort of sandbagged him at the end.
Well, I don't know about that, but I mean, she was asking him about not being on SNL for the 50th, and he was there. And Lorne Michaels said, Lorne Michaels put up some word salad in his interview as to why Chevy didn't get to say live from New York at Saturday night. Why was Bill Murray sitting in the Weekend Update seat? Why was everyone there allowed to do something except Chevy? Lorne Michaels' answer was, we had heard possibly he had some cognitive thing. We didn't, it was really weak what Lorne Michaels was saying. And Chevy was there. He's all the way in the back when they were on the stage. And everyone there, including Garrett Morris, said, we wouldn't have a show called Saturday Night Live if it wasn't for Chevy Chase. And that was absolutely true. And he was there, and they wouldn't let him speak, Eric.
Okay, I didn't know that because I saw multiple headlines that Chevy Chase was upset that he didn't get invited, like he wasn't there.
No.
So at least
worse than that. It's worse. They lied to him to get him to come, saying he was going to be in 2 sketches. Otherwise, if they knew if they emailed him and said, we're not going to let you speak, please come to the 50th anniversary, he would have said, go fuck yourselves. It was worse because Lorne lied to him and said, yes. And then he said, where are the sketches? And he said, well, we cut them. And then he realized what they had done to him far too late to walk away. And because they did it when he showed up, he thought he was going to be in these sketches, or at least do live from New York at Saturday night, or at least do Weekend Update. None of that happened. And he was buried like 3 rows back in the crowd.
Wow.
It really, really
Huge
cold.
move.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And he says it on camera, Chevy, and he's absolutely right. Because every one of those guys has, stuff that they've done that's egregiously insane. Nobody's got a clean set of hands on that, group. I mean, look at how asinine stuff Bill Murray has done over the years.
Yeah, and I think he's under some. Let's just say there may be a Me Too headline about him before too long.
Oh no, there's a bunch of them. And it's not, but Chevy's never been accused of any Me Too stuff.
No, just being an asshole.
Right. It's just his attitude and asshole, and it's really a sense of humor that has to be interpreted by the person who's hearing it. And if you know Chevy's phony smugness, that could be interpreted as real smugness very easily. His whole comic act, and it's been copied by Kevin Nealon, copied by Norm Macdonald, copied by all these people who give Chevy Chase credit for their careers of coming up with this style of comedy. And some people just don't get it. And they just say he's an asshole. It's not true. I mean, it's your interpretation of what he's saying. And then Goldie Hawn was on talking about how big of a heart he's got and everything else. And anyway, there's a couple of different angles to the documentary, and I thought people might want to take a look at it.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. There was a guy who played him in the Saturday Night Live.
That's the guy from Community.
McHale. Joel McHale, and I think he gets along with them.
Oh no, they absolutely. Chevy gave him his blessings and said it was a great performance. I mean, Garrett Morris absolutely said Chevy took me under my wings. Nobody wanted me here except Chevy. So there's all kinds of statements about Chevy's greatness. But Lorne, to his discredit, took the low road on this reunion thing, and it's really shameful. Really shameful.
That's right. Oh, and as a matter of fact, Chevy Chase supported Norm Macdonald.
Yeah.
When Norm Macdonald had the problems because of and got fired from Saturday Night Live when he was after O.J. Simpson.
With Dick Ebersol, whose first name was Dick.
And I think Chevy Chase said that Norm Macdonald was his favorite Weekend Update person.
Yeah.
After him.
I mean, put it this way, Chevy's there and they're letting Bill Murray do Weekend Update. Just think about that.
And I don't think Bill Murray even did Weekend Update, did
No, he had a chart of the top Weekend Update people, and he pulls out the thing, and number 4 is Chevy Chase. From this mock rating system that he's doing while criticizing Chevy Chase, Murray.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Patriot Biker 999. I am running late today. Thanks, guys. Well, thank you. You're here, though. You made it. Happy to have you.
By the way, if anybody wants to check out, I did an episode on Chevy last week on What's Up with Lord Buckley. I'm doing Steve Martin this week, but the episode I'm referring to was last week on the other channel. If people want to compare I recommend you see the documentary, but also you may want to take a look at mine because there's a lot more detail in mine that wasn't in the documentary, especially about his brutal abuse by his stepfather and his mother, which they touch on in the documentary, but it's far more brutal than is covered in the documentary.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. This is Batty Girl Rachel. Carlin does it so people are informed of what they are planning. They are coordinating labor strikes, so we will likely see more of them in the next year or two. Happy New Year.
Who's Carlin?
Carlin Borisenko, the one who goes undercover into the
I got you. Right.
All the leftist
okay.
communist stuff. All right. Edward McLaughlin 9107 very generously donated $49.99. They treated him like shit. Very shameful.
Yeah, I agree, Ed. I mean, I was shocked. It was really shocking. I mean, he was sharp as fuck for an 82-year-old, in that sitting down with the interview and going in. What they do in December is he goes around the country with his wife to screenings of Christmas Vacations, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacations, and he does a Q&A on the stage all over the country to regular people who know every line of the movie. And then he signs stuff and meets with them, takes photos with them. And believe me, he doesn't need the money. He's made enough money in films where he's doing this for the fans. And the fans really turn out. He goes to small towns where they're screening National Lampoon Vacations and Christmas Vacations, and meets with all the fans and does all this stuff, signing everything. They really treated him like shit. Lorne did.
I think I read in one of the books, it was like kind of on a general about this Saturday Night Live guys, multiple, that over time he came to terms with the character. Like he kind of hated the Griswold character.
Yeah, it's a
and
mixed
over time
bag.
he sort of grown because people love the character, and he feels like, you know what, they love me, they love the character. Okay, he's not a bad guy to.
Yeah, Beverly D'Angelo's in the documentary, and like Goldie Hawn, she talks about how much she loves Chevy Chase and the chemistry that they had in all the Vacation series movies. The two of them really hit it off, as actors and friends.
How about Randy Quaid? Do they get on? Or
he's not in there, but Randy Quaid ends up being a cast member on SNL, oddly enough. I mean, there's so many weird people there. I mean, Anthony Michael Hall, who's his kid in Vacations, becomes a cast member years later. And also Chris Farley was completely taken care of and completely supported by Chevy Chase. Chris Farley loved Chevy Chase. Obviously, he just came back to guest host. He wasn't a regular on the show, but there were people who just revered him.
By the way, Anthony Michael Hall, it's funny if you look at him now and the cast of The Breakfast Club. That's a movie that means a lot to me. It was big when I was growing up. It's hilarious because Anthony Michael Hall, who was the nerd, the braces and whatnot, is like 6'4", so he's towers over the other co-stars. He's kind of ripped, he actually looks a lot tougher. And then Judd Nelson, who is like, the badass, he's got this goatee and he's this scrunchy little old man running around. It's hilarious if you look at the reunion pictures over the last year.
Well, it's interesting because the common denominator in that is John Hughes.
That's why
the writer and former National Lampoon editor before me, who wrote Vacation and all the rest of those 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, went on to do those teen movies, but started with Vacation, 1958, and that's then European Vacation was also from that, and Christmas Vacation.
And Ferris Bueller's Day. No, he had an incredible string in the 80s. All the way to Home Alone.
And, of course. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Actually, are you going to cover him on What's Up with Lord Buckley?
I don't know.
He has enough of a.
I'm trying to stick with performers more than people behind the camera, but so I'm trying to focus first on the performers.
Okay, I just thought because of.
I mean, he became best friends with John Candy, and I covered that in the episode on John Candy that I did. Their relationship becomes really. I mean, the families together, vacationing together, really became best friends together, and obviously worked together on a number of films.
True. All right. Let me see. Free Speech on Rumble said Tommy Lee Jones. That's just so devastating to lose your kid. Yeah.
Well, I think he saw this coming. Once you have a kid that's like a Nick Reiner, obviously he didn't do anything to her, but the death of a kid who has been in multiple drug overdoses, multiple rehabs, multiple arrests is not as shocking as having your daughter run over by a car. If you follow what I'm saying.
True.
Right. Yeah.
That's fair. Or obviously cancer or something. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a different vibe.
Free Speech said The Groove Tube is a stellar film.
Yeah, that's Chevy Chase's first film, and I think I covered that in the documentary, the live documentary that I did. They don't cover any of this stuff in the documentary yesterday. I mean, the early years. There is footage of Lemmings. I'll give them that. They did have footage of National Lampoon's Lemmings, and they did cover his relationship with Christopher Guest and Belushi.
What about Steely Dan?
They do cover the Steely Dan stuff with Becker and Fagan, but Steely Dan doesn't really get its name till they moved to LA years later. But Chase, he's drumming with them. He played multiple instruments in Lemmings.
But he's a legit drummer.
Oh, no, absolutely legit. He played in like 4 different rock bands that toured and recorded after going to Bard. The funny thing is, they show, when they go to the Bard College segment, they actually showed my dormitory, which I thought was great. Yeah, that the former John Jacob Astor Manor House was where I lived with a 90-foot terrace overlooking the Hudson River. And I almost fell off the couch. I've never seen this photo before. And it says Bard College 1965 when he goes to school there. But it's where I lived when I went to school there. And I was like, oh man, that was weird.
That's cool. All right, we have one more super chat here. MBBU30W or whatever. Okay.
What is that?
I don't know what it is, but I preferred it. What they've done with the names is they're showing the @ thing. Like for example, you're Lord Buckley, right? So
Right.
What's Up with Lord Buckley is what we read, but then the actual tag is like Lord Buckley 082, all these weird numbers.
Oh, right.
And that's what I'm having to deal with on this, which sucks.
See you. Yeah.
Let me see. Mark, comments on Bill Maher interviewing 95-year-old Barbara Eden about OnlyFans. Whoa, I didn't know that.
First of all, I didn't know he interviewed Barbara Eden. I Dream of Jeannie. And what is Barbara Eden doing with OnlyFans? I don't understand.
I don't know. If she has an OnlyFans, I'll be going, what?
That's bizarre. I mean,
that is extremely bizarre.
This must be a joke or something.
Or maybe he's interviewing her like, what do you think about people who are doing that? I don't know, but
I don't know. She's 95 years old, so I don't know how.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's a beautiful woman. I mean, and for her age, amazing. But
I could tell you this much: Larry Hagman loved her.
I'm sure he probably did.
Yeah.
I confess, I kind of loved her as
me too.
when I was young. So there were not many hotter women, in my opinion.
No, I agree. She came out of that genie bottle.
Yeah. B. Davis V1. Nazi stands for the National Socialist German Workers' Party. So why do people on TV not call this out? There's no way. I'm the only person who noticed. AOC calls us Nazis. LOL. Yes, the problem is that names are names. North Korea, I believe, is a democratic nation. There's something democratic.
Yeah, Democratic Republic of Congo. They're just names. Hey, Davis, they're just names. I mean, yes, the word socialist is in there. So is the word democratic in other names of countries. It's meaningless, bro. It's meaningless. I know you're putting a lot of meaning on it, but you really shouldn't, because it doesn't have that kind of weight that you're saying. It was a right-wing fascist regime that was fought by the communists, and they were victorious in their battle internally, fighting in the streets of Berlin. You could look on YouTube and see the footage, the hand-to-hand combat against the communists in Berlin in 1933. And they drove them out or drove them underground, and then had eliminated a lot of them physically using Night of the Long Knives and guns and everything else to cement power. But they were anti-communists.
Right. And just so people understand me, there are parallels absolutely with communism and fascism. The big difference is that socialism, communism, takes the means of production and the state owns them. In the case of fascism, the means of production are in collusion with the state. A lot of the other stuff is almost identical, but that's essentially
there's overlaps
big
even with
difference.
capitalism, Eric. I mean,
Sure.
yeah. I mean, there are governments, there are chancellors, there are pseudo elections. People are calling our elections now pseudo elections, especially in blue states when you don't have a Republican candidate to vote for. Are we a communist nation? Somebody from the outside could make that allegation.
Well, and they do.
Yeah.
They do. That's the other thing. We're also technically not a democracy. As a direct democracy, we're a republic, which is a version of democracy. But anyway, let's see. One last super chat here. Batty Girl Rachel. What about Fletch? Love that movie and the sequel. 80s comedy was the best. I liked Fletch.
The sequel, not as good as the original, but the original Fletch was based on a series of novels, and they wanted to make a lot of Fletches. But the second one went kind of off the rails. But he's really in his element in the first one because he's wearing different disguises, working undercover. And also his arch nemesis, the antagonist in the movie, is ironically Tim Matheson, who was supposed to be played by Chevy Chase in Animal House. Chevy Chase turned down Animal House to do foul play with Goldie Hawn to begin his film career. And he felt that Animal House didn't even come close to the hijinks that him and his friends did in college, which I mentioned in my documentary about bringing a cow to the second floor of his dormitory and leaving it up there, and other insane hijinks that they did. And he wanted to do a big adult film, and he did Foul Play, which made a lot of money. Fletch made a lot of money, and his career was launched as a movie star.
Well, and Foul Play was a good movie. I mean,
yeah,
I
but so was Fletch.
Oh, no, Fletch. Sure. I mean, he did like The Invisible Man at one point.
Not so good. The Invisible
it wasn't the strongest. No, he's kind of,
Carpenter said
Spies Like Us wasn't too bad.
No, that was okay. But The Invisible Man, Carpenter said it was the worst film he ever worked on in his entire life. and Chase was a producer on it too. So it was Carpenter and him almost came to blows a number of times.
All right. Well, you know what? We're going to continue this conversation over on Locals, and we'll try not to come to blows ourselves over there, but you never know. You can come over, check it out. I put up this week, literally, the JFK Lancer.
Hey, it's pretty good. I looked at it. The quality is fine.
Well, I got the sound captured and good camera work.
Yeah.
It definitely, I hate to say it was better than it was live, probably, but I think that it was better than it was live.
Right. No, I mean, at least it's really clear. It sounds good. I mean, wow.
Yeah. One of the people commented, and I was really happy to hear it, that they were like, they were sitting in the front row and they could hear Grodin better in what we put up on Locals than they could live. Because
when we go over there, we talk about the reparations mayor up in San Francisco and a couple of these other stories we didn't get to today because of time constraints. So the RFK stops requiring doctors to report patient vaccine status. There's a couple of stories we could talk about over there.
We can.
How about the disgraced book deals that they're now realizing are payoffs? That Cassidy Hutchinson book.
Well, we'll either do it there or we'll do it on the next show because some of them are holding up. But let's head over. And everybody, I hope you consider following us. And by the way, those who are watching here, don't plan on following us over. Consider supporting the sponsor, Aura. It does help us out a lot. And I appreciate them, looking out for the show because a lot of people are afraid to. And we're always fighting with YouTube to keep it alive. And anybody who sponsors the show it's very helpful. So everybody, see you at locals, or we'll see you next week.
What do I do now? Oh, I do this.